Nobody saw this coming. Naji Marshall starts his NBA career undrafted. And now, having the best season of his career, catching the eye of title contenders across the league, it has become abundantly clear that he is now worth so much more than that. It's even been rumored that the Mavericks are unwilling to listen to any offers for Naji Marshall that do not include a first-round draft pick. Now, I say nobody saw that coming. I for one, did not. I really loved Naji Marshall last season. If you'll remember, guys, we kind of went through the dog days of February, March, April with just all of the injuries that you can imagine. And we did a lot of relying on Naji Marshall down the stretch, and he delivered for us. So he became a fan favorite last year, lovingly became called the knife, right? He's a weapon on offense. He can slice through the paint, whatnot. Cute name. Now, he has said since that he doesn't really like that name. We'll have to maybe you guys sound off in the comment section. Let me know if you have come up with an awesome replacement nickname for the knife. But anyway, coming into this season, yeah, we loved him, and he has continued to step up. He's continued to level up his game. He has become the floater god, aptly known there. So it's easy to see how his value has gone up so quickly, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I saw it coming, and I don't think anybody across the league would tell you that they saw it coming either. But let's talk about what that could mean for the Mavericks moving forward. And guys, we don't have any basketball until Wednesday night. So today we're going to talk about draft stuff. Okay. We're going to talk about of course, the NBA trade deadline rumor mill. And by the way, guys, we are 9 days away from February 5th. Buckle up. I am your host, Ethan, the Advisor Clayton. Welcome to the party, fam. And by party, I mean dope podcasts. This is Your Mavs, a Dallas Mavericks podcast where all are welcome. Y'all better behave. Now, where I want to start this morning, I did not tease at all in the intro. I do want to quickly acknowledge the Dallas Mavericks losing to the Los Angeles Lakers the other day. It was a pretty entertaining game start to finish. It looked like the Lakers were going to run away with it in the first half, and then we closed the gap, and then we took a commanding lead, and then we melted down in the fourth quarter in an epic fashion. But guys, I don't want to dive too deep into the basketball analysis. I've already kind of emotionally moved on from that loss. But one thing that I do want to camp out on just for a brief moment, couple of storylines coming out of that game. Besides all of the terrible weather, I'm really glad, by the way, that we did not try and force the team to get on that flight. They were having the hardest time de-icing the plane before they could, get on the plane and go to Milwaukee. Anyway, one of the main storylines coming out of it, guys, Luka Doncic did something incredible for Dallas Mavericks fans to show appreciation for all the support over the years. And what he did was he invited 22 Mavericks fans. I believe it was his agent that just reached out to them cold turkey. They had no idea what was going on. He bought them a suite at the AAC. Okay. And not only did they get to attend the game, which for me would have been good enough, they were also given signed Luka Lakers jerseys. They were given each a pair of Luka's new shoes that just dropped. They each got personal meet and greet time with Luka Doncic. Guys, this was such an incredible gift. And, I just want to acknowledge that. Here we are almost a year later. We gave that big video tribute to Luka whenever he returned to the AAC back in March or April of last year. But there still hasn't been, and there may never be, full closure on why that trade happened, why things unfolded the way that they did. But after the dust has settled, Luka wanted to make sure that Mavs fans felt appreciated for all the support over the years. And I thought it was an incredibly classy move. And guys, check this out. Part of the 22, or most of the 22 fans that he reached out to were Dallas Mavericks podcasters that were just vocally in support of him, pre-trade, post-trade, all of the above. And I'm just sitting here thinking, well, shoot, why didn't I start doing this years ago and, build a reputation as a Luka defender, as a Luka lover, and I would have gotten an invite too. And man, I would have died happy. I seriously would have died happy if that had been me. But what an incredible gesture. Luka Doncic, you are the man. Thank you so much. Now, coming out of that, of course, there's all the speculation. As everybody knows, Luka Doncic, after he was traded to the Lakers over the summer, he signed a contract extension that keeps him under contract until 2028. Okay, so ever since that contract extension was announced, Mavs fans, rightfully so, have been like, well, what happens post 2028? Are we ever going to get a Luka reunion? And as you can imagine, the debate gets pretty ugly from there. You hear everything from he's gone, move on, get over it, to, oh, no, he's definitely coming back. No question about it. The rest of you are stupid if you don't think that that's happening. Guys, I'm not going to draw a line in the sand one way or the other, but can I just wish cast that really quickly on today's pod? I really, really, sincerely, deeply want Luka Doncic to return home. I think it could happen. I think it could happen sooner than 2028. But you got to figure out a way to have a trade conversation with the Los Angeles Lakers again. I don't think that's going to happen for a very long time. So maybe we do have to wait until 2028. Let's move on past that just for a moment. All right, so now we're going to talk about the rumor mill stuff, right? Again, we are 9 days until the NBA trade deadline. And I teased this in the intro. Like, Naji Marshall started his career as an undrafted free agent. And now, as of the Sunday Steinline report, no first, no thank you. Basically, that is the line in the sand that the Dallas Mavericks have drawn as Naji Marshall has started to generate a ton of interest across the league. In fact, the exact wording was the Dallas Mavericks are unwilling to listen to any offers for Naji Marshall that do not include a future first-round draft pick. Amen and amen. No first, no thank you. Now, at the beginning of the Maverick segment of the Steinline, I believe the first sentence is, Naji Marshall and Max Christie have emerged as prized members of the post-Luka Doncic, now Cooper Flagg era. Prized by the Mavericks in that both of those players have played extremely well and gotten rewarded for that. You know, right? Like, both have cracked the starting lineup whenever they didn't start the season that way. But also by prized members, we're starting to see just how valued these guys are across the league. Just to put it in perspective, Max Christie is 5th in the league in 3-point percentage, 45.5%. And that's on 6 attempts per game. Okay. So any and every team, by the way, there's a trend in the league. Shooting percentages down just straight across the board with free throws, 2-point field goals, 3-point field goals, all of the above are just down league wide. Meanwhile, Max Christie is having career highs in every single category. A lot of teams are taking notice of that because, as we talked about in the other day's show, he is not a one-dimensional player either, right? He started the season as, what virtually everyone would just call a 3-and-D guy. Nothing more, nothing less, okay? And in light of today's show title, nobody saw this coming. I think we can throw Max Christie in that equation as well. Now, of course, he was a first-round draft pick. He had established himself as a starter for the Los Angeles Lakers before he was traded. But goodness gracious, I don't think anybody could have seen this meteoric rise happen so quickly. Now, again, the league is taking notice. And, as far as the Dallas Mavericks getting phone calls from teams about players they are interested in, I think it's pretty safe to say it is Naji Marshall and Max Christie that are those guys. Okay. On the Anthony Davis front, I don't really want to spend too much time on Anthony Davis right now. Right. There's literally zero noise happening other than the Rich Paul fake trade demand. Oh, I didn't ask for that. And then AD comes out and say, well, Rich Paul wants me to be traded and thinks it's in my best interest. I don't agree. And then Rich Paul goes on his podcast and said it's all bull. Like, I don't want to spend time with the back and forth reporting right now. What I do want to talk about is how awesome those two players, Naji Marshall and Max Christie, are. And hopefully everybody can start to see why both of those players would command first-round draft picks. Now, me personally, I don't want to trade either of those two players. That is not something that I I wake up on a Tuesday morning and be like, what can we get for Max Christie? What can we get for Naji Marshall? No, I think that those guys are incredibly important for how this roster is made up. However, if I have to pick between keeping one of those two players, I'm going to go Max Christie 90 times out of 100. Not even 99. There's still some room in there for our guy, Naji Marshall. But the main reason why I would prioritize Max Christie over Naji Marshall if we had to choose, right? This is a big hypothetical, by the way. If we had to choose, I'm going with Max because age, right? He is younger. He has more tools in his tool belt. He is a better perimeter defender, and he is on a cheaper contract as of now, right? Of course, there's still going to be that conversation that happens over the summer about that contract extension. Give Max that bag, okay? But I'm kind of rambling at this point. I love the fact that as much complaining as we have done as Mavs fans about the GM search and how it's taking forever, and they're really not ramping it up fully until the spring or maybe even the offseason, it has felt like we're navigating really turbulent waters without a captain. Hearing news like this, where, again, the report is we are unwilling to listen to any trade offers for Naji Marshall that do not include a first-round draft pick, that makes me feel a little bit better about our trajectory. That makes me feel a little bit better that the guys that we have serving as interim co-GMs kind of know what they're doing. Now, how much of a green light they've been given to actually make moves, I have no idea. So, we could give them credit for not making moves or whatever when they may not even have the freedom and capacity to do so right now. But I like this report because it does show how incredibly valuable those two players are, not just to us, but across the league. And if we are going to have any of those conversations, give me the picks. Let's go. Give them all to me right now. Speaking of picks, here at the last segment of the show, I've teased this multiple times. I think we're just going to dive right into it today. Let's talk some draft prospects. All right, as we are a little more than halfway through this season, if things ended today, the Mavericks have the eighth best odds to win the lottery. I don't know why I got tongue twisted there. Eighth best odds. So something that we're going to do moving forward, if we're going to be of the tank mode and if we're going to be losing games like we did the Los Angeles Lakers the other day, by the way, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of those fourth quarter meltdowns because as much speculation as there has been about us being too good of a team to tank, I really, really do think that Jason Kidd understands the assignment. It just has felt a little too early to fully tank. So just put that in your back pocket for now. But we have the eighth best odds. And right now, what I'm going to pretend is if we're going to lose games, then we're going to have fun doing it. And every time we lose, the next show that I record, we will do a lottery spin. Okay. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't have the screen sharing capabilities. I'm literally just going to pull up my phone and I'll show you where things land. Okay. But regardless of where this lottery spin lands this morning, I am going to pretend that we're moving up in our odds into the top five. And I'm going to talk to you about my top five from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I want the debate to begin today. Let's get excited about these guys. There's this draft class is unbelievable. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to hit the button right now. It shows us at the 8th spot. Boom, boom, boom. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, by the way, here, I'll just show you. You probably can't see it all that well. We landed 9th in this lottery spin, so we actually fell a spot. If I have done this 100 times, 97 of them, I have moved down to the 9th spot. I don't know why that is. Every day, I have a texting conversation, a texting thread with my dad that starts with, how'd you roll? Okay, my dad has done it 3-4 days in a row where he's texted me first that he won the lottery and we drafted Darren Peterson. So maybe we need to bring my dad onto the show for good vibes. I don't know. But listen, I have continued to fall down to the 9th slot. And in today's scenario, we selected a guy named Keaton Wagler out of the University of Illinois. We're not going to talk about Keaton Wagler today. We're going to talk about, again, pretending that we did land in the top 5 and that we're going to get one of those picks. At some point, we're going to dive deeper into the top 10, probably top 15 to complete the lottery big board. And if we get enough bad basketball and we don't want to talk about it, we may go some late first round flyers to cover some fun profiles. So without further ado, I'm just going to start. Let's pretend we are the 5th pick in the NBA draft for 2026. With the 5th pick out of the University of Houston, 6'4" freshman point guard, Kingston Flemings. Okay, guys, this would be the first one off my board were I the GM. Hopefully you've gotten to watch a little bit of his game film. He is an incredible athlete. He is a patient playmaker. Okay, you're not really going to see him get all out of sorts. You're not going to see him force the ball. He is a confident shooter. Now, sometimes I think, you could look at him taking a 3-pointer 5 or 6 feet beyond the 3-point line and be like, yo, dude, what are we doing? But he does it with such confidence, and he has such a smooth stroke that you kind of like it. He's a rhythm shooter. He gets a full head of steam, and I don't know that he can be stopped by many point of attack defenders right now in the NBA. He's strong. He's fast. Now, the 6'4" thing, right? The NBA is kind of trending up, larger guards, but I would not be at all worried about how that would fit with the Dallas Mavericks if we got the 5th pick and took in Kingston Flemings. Again, out of the U of H, 6'4" point guard. Maybe even at some point, guys, I'm going to go through each of the starting 5 positions and tell you my top 3 picks for each position. If we're talking point guards, Kingston Flemings is at the very, very top for me. And if we're, maybe I just move on. We don't have time to do an in-depth analysis. By the way, you shouldn't come to Ethan, the advisor Clayton, for full draft analysis and full draft profiles. I'm merely here to just talk about how this could impact the Dallas Mavericks. So Kingston Flemings, a patient playmaker, an elite ball handler next to a generational wing player like Cooper Flagg. The story writes itself. I move on. If we got the 4th pick, 6'10" freshman forward out of the University of North Carolina, Caleb Wilson. Okay, this guy definitely has all-star potential. He's got a lot of bounce. He's got a lot of energy. He's a strong finisher. Basically, guys, the vision here is if we were to take Caleb Wilson at 4, we're putting together 2 insane wings, like 6'9", 6'10", between Cooper Flagg and Caleb Wilson. And I got to say, if you're trying to drive to the paint, or even if you think that you can take ISO ball with any of these guys out on the perimeter, like, good luck, because they've got long arms, big hands. They're extremely athletic and quick with their lateral speed. So Caleb Wilson would be a insane fit with Cooper Flagg. He's not the best shooter right now, but he doesn't have a bad stroke. You see a lot of potential there. And interesting note about North Carolina, something that I didn't realize, if you pay attention to college basketball at all, North Carolina has been a premier program for decades and decades. And they've obviously bred insane NBA talent. What's crazy to me, though, is that there's not been an NBA All-Star that came out of North Carolina since Anton Jamison in 2008. Guys, that's 18 years ago. And before that, it was Vince Carter in 2007. This, as good as all these players that come out of North Carolina are, there hasn't been an all-star in a long time. I think Caleb Wilson ends that trend. Like, probably not as a rookie, but 3rd or 4th season, he's already talking about being an NBA all-star, maybe all NBA defense type of deal. But yeah, that would be a really exciting prospect to pair with Cooper Flagg. Let's move on. Number 3, 6'9" freshman power forward out of Duke University, Cam Boozer. This is who I would take at number 3, guys. Cam Boozer, son of Carlos Boozer, twin of, I believe, Caleb Boozer. I could be wrong. That doesn't sound right. But you look at a player like Cam Boozer, he is always in control. And when I say always in control, if you watch even 5 minutes of the game that he is on the floor, the offense runs through him. They're not rushing to put shots up. Like, they're running all their actions, and he is intelligent enough. He's got this insanely high basketball IQ that he knows when to share the rock. He knows when to take it to the hoop. He knows when to put up a soft jumper. Guys, like he really understands the game incredibly well. He's a big-bodied, power forward that, it doesn't necessarily fit the stereotypical power forward archetype for today's NBA, especially at 6'9", but he's listed at 250 pounds, guys. So he's beefy. He knows how to put a body on guys. He's a great rebounder, pretty decent defender. But the play here would be, let's fill our starting lineup with as many Duke grads as humanly possible. Like just play this out for a second. Kyrie Irving, Duke grad, starting point guard. Cooper Flagg, Duke grad, starting small forward. Cam Boozer, power forward, and Derek Lively at center. Guys, 4 of our starting 5 is Duke alum. That would be an insane vision, okay? Really good basketball to look forward to there. I need to speed this up. At number 2, I would take Darren Peterson, 6'6" freshman combo guard out of the University of Kansas. He is an elite playmaker and scorer, okay? Like, he is never afraid of the moment. You could double team him. He's going to still get a clean shot up, and it's still going to go in with really without touching the net whatsoever. He has that supreme confidence. Again, he's always going to be able to find his shot, no matter how big of a defender you throw at him. It does not matter. The only concern I have about Darren Peterson, and probably why I don't have him ranked number 1, is just some of the injury durability stuff that we've seen unfold this season. Now, to be fair, he's a freshman that knows he's going to be a top 2 pick in next year's draft. So, like, you obviously don't want to risk it. You don't want to force it and hurt your draft stock. But that's the only concern I have about Darren Peterson. But I like that size for a guard. He's not necessarily a point guard. I think we would probably fit him in our lineup much easier as a shooting guard. But you cannot keep him from finding the shot that he wants. He will go get it, and he will do it confidently. All right, lastly, obviously that means that we leave AJ Debonsa at the number 1 spot. Guys, he's 6'9". He also a freshman. All of these top 5 have been freshmen. He's a small forward out of Brigham Young University. By the way, if he's he will be taken in the lottery. That'll be 2 years in a row that the Brigham Young University has had somebody taken in the lottery. And right now, Jaeger Yeoman for Brooklyn Nets is hooping. Okay, I think he's shooting 40% from 3 this year. Kind of interesting to see the products coming out of BYU right now. But AJ Debonsa he's a playmaker. He's a play finisher. He's a man among boys in the college game right now. Just a supreme athlete. And he's the one that I would be most interested to see paired with Cooper Flagg, especially for a long-term situation. I kind of Googled it and I also tapped in some other NBA minds as a resource for, if we put 2 6'9", 6'10" sized forwards on the floor together, what could we look back at NBA history and compare those guys to? Here are some like forward duos that are formidable that I think we should keep our eyes on to compare. Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. The one, and this was incredibly interesting. I was educated last night on NBA history. I texted this question to my dad. Who's going to be a formidable forward duo that we could compare Cooper Flagg and AJ Debonsa to? Without really much hesitation, my dad threw back all the way to the early 70s in the ABA. The Virginia Squires had Dr. J, Julius Irving, and George the Iceman Gervin on the same roster for an entire season. Gervin was a rookie. I don't know if you're familiar with his game at all. If you're not, go look him up on YouTube. Some of the most smooth game you've ever seen. Now, those two on the court together, it was appointment television, right? Neither of them were at the peak of their powers, but they're just both dynamic ball handlers, dynamic finishers. Now, Gervin was the better shooter between he and Dr. J, but like I seriously, guys, go YouTube this right now. If you want to see what we could expect from, those two developing next to each other on the floor for years and years to come, I think you look at those examples. Again, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Now, obviously the player profiles are not exactly the same across all those comparisons, but the idea is still the same. We're going to have large wings that have insane wingspans, are fast, can push the ball in transition, and can shoot the ball a little bit. If you put all those pieces together, oh my gosh, the Dallas Mavericks are so dangerous. This is the longest episode I've ever recorded. And you know what? I don't care because it's the 50th episode of Your Mavs. Guys, I asked for help to get to triple digits last time I recorded. And as of now, we're at 108 subscribers. Guys, thank you so much. This is really fun. Let's keep building. But I'm not going to take any more of your time. Y'all have an awesome Tuesday. Party on. Be good.